Recording in progress.
So we have a new mimer from the Dvar Malchus. It's a mugadik mimer that the Rebbe said on Erev Rosh Hashanah, last day of El Tavshin Lamed Beis. Yom Tov Shel Rosh Hashanah Shchalis B'Shabbos. We learn in the Gemara, Mishnah in Sekas Rosh Hashanah, if the day of Rosh Hashanah comes out on Shabbos. So what do we do about Kir Shofar? That's the same thing this year. We have Shabbos coincides with Rosh Hashanah. So b'migdash, in the Beis HaMikdash, they would blow Shofar. Avaloi b'Medina, but not outside the Beis HaMikdash or outside Yerushalayim. There are different opinions what that means, Loi b'Medina. The Gemara explains what is the reason why we don't blow Shofar on Yom Tov Shel Rosh Hashanah B'Shabbos. What is the concern? Why not? It's not that blowing shofar is a malacha. It's a mitzvah, and therefore it's a mitzvah of the day, which we be able to do it on Shabbos. So the Gemara explains that Rabbanan Hu the Gazer Beit, the Chachamim are the ones that made the decree about this. The Chachamim were worried as follows: everybody has the obligation to hear the blowing of the shofar. But not everyone knows how to blow the shofar, so we're concerned. We're making a decree that maybe someone will take it in his hand and he'll go to a professional to study, and he will carry it 4 cubits in Rosh Hashanah. So that's why the Chacham said, let us not blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Comes out on Shabbos, so a person doesn't Chas v'Shalom violate Shabbos. So therefore, it's known the questions about this. What did the Chazal see about pushing away a positive mitzvah of the Eraisa, B'chlal, to go ahead and to stop Yidden from doing a mitzvah aseh? That itself takes very big shoulders. Chacham should go ahead and say, that's it. There's a mitzvah aseh, but we're not doing it. We're not going to blow shofar. Why? Maybe somebody's going to mess up. It's a mitzvah aseh. It's one of the 248 positive commandments, one of the 630 mitzvahs of the Torah that we need to do. On top of it, it's not just any mitzvah. Befrat mitzvah shofar, especially the mitzvah of shofar, she mitzvah rama v'nisah me'oid. It's a very high and exalted mitzvah. There's all different types of hints about the shofar and the significance of shofar, and it has to do with tshuva, like we've learned in different Amarim. The Rambam brings down that even though it's a Gzeir Sakasuv, it has a hint about tshuva, and tshuva is a very great mitzvah, etc. Mishum, and all of this, we're going to push away a mitzvah saseh min ha-Torah. And not just any mitzvah saseh, but a mitzvah rama v'nisah. Why? Because only a gzeira, only a decree, only a concern, perhaps something will go wrong. The Rebbe adds in the brackets a very interesting thing. Usually, when we make a gzeira, we make a decree, an offense, around something so people do not come to transgress, to be over a mitzvah b'dairaisa. A person shouldn't come to transgress an aveda b'dairaisa, a Torah prohibition, so we make a decree. But over here, the Rebbe adds, ubefrat achshav, especially these days, she'ein motzi she'yir she'saram na Torah. It's not common that there should be a Torah Rishus Harabim. It says, the Mishnah, the Gemara explains, perhaps you will come to carry 4 cubits in the Rishus Harabim. A Rishus Harabim is not such a common thing. A Rishus Harabim has to be 16 amma by 16 amma, and it also has to be, according to one opinion, a place where 600,000 people pass through, just like in the Midbar was 600,000. And that's very uncommon. Therefore, so it comes out that the worry that you're concerned about is not even about perhaps will this person that doesn't know how to blow shofar transgress a mitzvah deraisa? He won't even come to transgress a mitzvah deraisa because it's uncommon to have a Rosh Hashanah. And therefore the decree Chum said don't blow shofar and Rosh Hashanah comes out on Shabbos is perhaps he shouldn't come to transgress a Yisrael Midrabanan of carrying around in something that's not a real Rosh Hashanah, carrying in a carmel is what's called, etc. Then there's another component added to this question. Go on in line 12. Also, that the concern is for regular people or people that are light of commitment. The footnote he brings down two ways of explaining that hadyotim means people that just don't know the halachos of Tkiyas Shofar. That's what we're saying. People that are not baki. Not everybody is baki in Tkiyas Shofar, therefore he has to go to a professional. And Kali Adas means literally someone that doesn't take the mitzvah so seriously, so therefore he might come to transgress the 4 Amos and Shesarabim, or maybe he does take it seriously, but he doesn't pay attention. He's Kal Das, he's just like, he's unfocused. So it's a combination of two things. You got to have a guy that A, doesn't know how to blow shofar, and B, he's someone that's like, a little bit flaky, doesn't realize, what am I doing? I'm carrying it out for Amos and Shesarabim. And for those individuals, we're going to stop. How did we withhold this mitzvah from many great and good tzaddikim that they cannot blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah because of the concern of some person that doesn't know how and doesn't realize, and might come to carry Shesarabim. It's like such a far-fetched type of reason to stop such a major mitzvah, such an important mitzvah that has such spiritual significance. It's known the explanation, and there's many Mamorim talk about it, starting from Maimon to the Torah, and there's a very famous Hemshech and Samach Vav, and many Mamorim discuss this topic. What is the inner meaning, according to Chassidus and Kabbalah, of blowing shofar on Rosh Hashanah? Through blowing shofar, we awaken or we inspire above a delight on Hashem in the creation of the world. The reason for this is, let's backtrack a little bit. Every single year, at the end of the year, the lease on creation for that year expires. Imagine you're renting a home, you're leasing a car, and every year the lease expires. So at the end of the year, you need to renew your lease. The lease for the creation of the world lasts only for a year. Comes the end of the year, now it's Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the new year, we need to renew the lease. To renew the lease, we need to awaken Hashem's interest in this world. Where does Hashem's interest in this world derive from? It comes from His delight, because He enjoys the creation. He enjoys what the Yidden do. So that delight motivates Him to want the level of Ratzon. From that it comes down to the level of intellect. From that it comes down to the level of emotions, Machshava Dibur Amaisa, till He actually creates the world, till He actually makes the world anew. The means, how we evoke, how we get Hashem to renew the lease, which comes through Hashem's new delight coming down, that's the power of the shofar. Shofar has to do with the level of tainug. Chassidus explains, shofar, the Chazal says, from the word shapru masechem, beautify your actions. Beauty has to do with the level of delight. And since beauty has to do with the level of delight, so therefore, the idea of shofar indicating beauty has to do with the level of delight. It draws down Hashem's enjoyment, tainug, delight in the creation of the world. So now the Rebbe says a very interesting thing that's brought down to Amar Chassidus. There is another celebration that has to do with Hashem's delight, and that's Shabbos. When the Eibishter concluded the creation of the world, he enjoyed and he had a delight in seeing his handiwork being done. And every Shabbos, it's also a level of delight, and that's why we have to delight in Shabbos. And the pasuk says, "V'karasa Shabbos oineg," you shall call Shabbos delight, because Shabbos, the very nature of the day taps into Hashem's delight. So that's what he's saying in line 17. V'kivan Shabbos mitzad atzmi yesh ne'atainuk, since Shabbos on its own, there is already there delight that's already in existence, because Shabbos has delight in and of itself. Therefore, Rosh Hashanah that comes out and coincides with Shabbos, ha-mitzvah that kiyas shofar eina b'toikev kol kach, top of the page vav. The mitzvah of blowing shofar is not so powerful. Im kol hashturim, in Yiddish meaning in full storm, full force. It doesn't have that much of an impact, or it's not as necessary and as crucial and vital. Why? Like Rosh Hashanah comes out during the weekday, because there is the delight anyway there because of Shabbos. Therefore, line 2, he says, therefore, since shofar blowing on Shabbos that comes on Rosh Hashanah is not as crucial, not as vital, therefore we will push it away because of such a suspicion that maybe this rare individual will carry it 4 cubits from Sarabim, which is also an uncommon situation. So the Rebbe then challenges himself. You're saying it's unnecessary? You're saying it's not a problem? What about the Beis HaMikdash? If it's unnecessary, why do we blow in the Beis HaMikdash? Now, in a simple sense, it's brought down that in the Beis HaMikdash, it says, Kohanim Zrizimei. The Kohanim are very careful, they're very cautious. You don't have to worry that they're going to do something by mistake, like carrying the shofar. Therefore, you can blow in the Beis HaMikdash. But on a deeper level, if it's any way Shabbos is accomplishing it, so what use or what benefit or what reason is there to blow shofar in the Beis HaMikdash that comes out on Shabbos? By the way, in a similar vein, it's brought down another Omar Chassidus. This was also something that only occurred, the Gzeiris was only in the times of Bayis Sheni. It's brought down some Omar. In the times of Bayis Rishon, there was no Gzeiris, which means that even everywhere else, outside of Eretz Yisrael, outside of the Beis HaMikdash, they blew shofar when it came out on Shabbos. So the question is why? If Shabbos automatically handles it, why do we blow shofar? So he says in line 4, the fact that in the Beis HaMikdash, they would blow shofar also Rosh Hashanah that coincided with Shabbos, because in the level of delight, there's many levels. And the level of delight that the Yidden would draw down through blowing shofar from the Beis HaMikdash, the Shabbos was a higher level of delight than Shabbos, and therefore, even in the Beis HaMikdash, they would blow shofar on Shabbos. And in a similar vein, it's brought down to Mamarim that in the times of the first Beis HaMikdash, that higher level of delight than in the times of the second Beis HaMikdash was constrained just to the Beis HaMikdash, really spread out in the entire world, and therefore, in the times of the first Beis HaMikdash, they blew shofar even outside of the Beis HaMikdash on the Rosh Hashanah that came out on Shabbos. Any questions before we go on?